Hi everyone, and welcome to Creative Chelsey. Today I'm excited to be sharing with you my second alternative project using the February 2022 paper pumpkin kit called Safari Celebration. This fun kit creates 9 cards. You're going to get enough supplies to create 3 of each of these original projects. And if you're interested in seeing me unbox this kit or watching me create any other alternative projects, you can click on the playlist and I'll link that in the top right corner. Before I show you my alternative project, I do want to just tell you about next month's kit. The March 2022 kit is called Beyond the Horizon. And what I love about this kit is it's going to coordinate really well with the New Horizons 6x6 Designer Series paper that is in the mini catalog. And it just has all these really beautiful colors, and it just has some really pretty landscape designs. You can see some more examples that are made with that paper here on this other side. So I'm excited to see what they've come up with for this paper pumpkin kit and how it can coordinate with some of those other products that they sell. So you'll want to sign up to get this kit before March 10th, 2022. And you can use the link that's in the description box below to subscribe. So this is the card we're going to be creating today. It's another movement card. It has this sliding element that reveals a hidden message underneath. My daughter loved this card. She said to me, "Mom, it looks like the elephant is roller skating." And I love that about this fun card. If you are new to my channel and want to see more of my videos, click on the subscribe button and then the bell for notifications. I would love to be your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and help you with any of your paper crafting needs. To purchase any of the products you see me use today, please visit my online store, and the link is in the description below. So just like I did with my first alternative card, I'm going to be changing up the colors so that you can see that these colors mix and match really beautifully together. So I'm going to begin with the Bumblebee card base, and you're going to want to cut it down the center on the score line, or you can just cut it at 4 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this piece at 4 inches. This is the other half to the card base that I used for card number 1. And I'm going to have a piece that's left over. It's got a little bit of a score line in the middle, and you can use these on just some little elements for your other cards as well if you want. So 4 inches, and then rotate and cut to 5 1/4 inches. So our next step is to cut the window for our hidden message. So I'm going to tell you the dimensions and then we'll walk through it together. So from the top, it's 2 inches, and from the bottom, it's 1 inch. And from each side, it's 3/4 of an inch. And you can change these measurements depending on how you want your card to look. So I'm going to begin with the 1 inch cut. Again, you want to have your paper trimmer in the middle of your cardstock when you do a cut like this. And then you're going to go up to 3/4 of an inch and down to 4 1/2 inches, which will be 3/4 of an inch away from 5 1/4. Then I'm going to just slide it down and measure it at 2 inches and repeat that same cut. So slide up to 3/4 and down to 4 1/2. Then I'm going to measure at 3/4 of an inch on this side and bring my blade between those 2 cut lines, and then I just cut to those lines. And then you'll get a flap like this, and then we'll remove it by just doing the exact same thing. Measure at 3/4 of an inch, come between those 2 cut lines, and cut just like that. So now we've got that opening for our greeting. And again, you can hold on to this for either inside your card or for another card. So next we're going to get our pattern from one of the envelopes, and this is going to be the pattern that we use to cover up our hidden message. So I've just trimmed off the bottom and then rotate to each side. and trim off just the tiniest amount to open up your envelope. So I'm going to be working on this larger side here, and I'm going to make my first cut at 1.5 inches. And then I need to trim that down to 4.5 inches. And this is going to be for the inside pulling piece. So I'm just going to trim off that flap. This area has 2 pieces of paper stuck together, and I don't want to use that for my card. So next I'm going to do the same on this side. Just trim off that extra flap where they're glued together. So I've trimmed that down, and then from that long edge I'm going to cut a 1-inch piece, and then I'm going to trim that to 3 3/4. And so what I have here is I've got a piece that is 1 inch by 3 3/4, and then my second piece is 1.5 inches by 4.5 inches. So those 2 pieces together are going to create that background element for the card. So we're just going to put those off to the side, and we're going to do a little stamping. So because I am using the Bumblebee card front, I'm going to also use some Bumblebee ink. And I've got the leaf and the splatter image. And I think I'm going to start by stamping the leaf in Bumblebee and just do these kind of just in some of the corners, just to kind of give it a little tone-on-tone interest, a little bit of texture. So you're going to be adding this 1-inch piece above your opening. And so when you stamp, just keep that in mind that you want to be a little bit higher than the opening, like down here. Okay, so you'll get something that looks like this. I think I want my splatters to be a little darker, so I've got my Pear Pizzazz ink pad, and I'm going to ink those up and just add that in a couple spots. Kind of near where I stamped my leaves, just to add a little more texture. So now we're going to create the element to help this slide back and forth. So this is a 1-inch opening, and this is 1.5 inches. So we're going to have 1/4 of an inch on each side, and that's going to keep it in place. So I want it to pull from the right side. So I'm going to put that right side here at the top, and I'm going to line it up with my grid paper so that I can try to get it in the right place. I'm going to use a little bit of washi tape just to hold things down so that they don't move around too much on me. So I'm going to lay this 1.5 inch piece. So I lined it up so that this is the center line that goes through my opening. So I'm going to look for 3/4 of an inch on each side. And I'm just going to line that up like that. Actually, I'm going to place this washi tape at the top because I've got to put some things here on the right side to hold it in place. So from your sheet of dimensionals, you're going to cut some strips. And now you do want these strips to be full strips. In my opinion, it makes it much easier for it to slide if there aren't any gaps. The gaps are going to make it catch. For our first card, it didn't matter if there were gaps, and that's just the way the card worked. But this time, these corners could catch when it comes back in. So I've just cut a really skinny piece of dimensionals, and you're just going to remove one of the sides of paper, and then you're just going to place it right along that edge. So you don't want the paper to actually be attached. You want it to be loose, but that edge is going to hold it in place. Now I've got this other side here that I can use, and it has bumps on one side, but it has one straight edge. So you're going to put that straight edge on the other side of your paper. Just like that. Again, make sure it's close, but not actually going over the paper at all. Okay, so that's going to be our guide for when our paper is being pulled in and out, just like that. You can also add dimensionals to the other areas for support. You want this piece to all be about the same dimension all the way around. All right, so I removed the washi tape, and I'm actually going to make a mark up here at the top. Again, I've found the center of this opening, and I'm just going to make a little mark on the back side, and that's going to be the area where I'm going to punch out so that I can add the ribbon for a pull tab. So I've got my punch. This is a 1 1/4 inch circle punch, and I'm just placing it so that that marking is in the center of the punch, and then just cutting a small portion of that circle out to create that pull tab look. So now we need to do the stamping that's going to be on our card base. So this stamping right here. And we need that to be in a particular location. So go ahead and fold your card base in half. I'm just using a thick basic white card stock for my card base. And you're going to gently lay this over. Now I still have all the paper on, so you don't need to actually adhere it. You're just getting an idea of where it should be. And then I like using washi tape to kind of create a hinge so that things stay where I want them. Okay, so I've created a small hinge, and then I'm going to just kind of create a little arrangement of the leaves from the stamp set around inside this rectangle. So I'm just going to start with the bumblebee leaves. And to do this, you can just flip this up. So I kind of am going to hover a little bit and then stamp. Now it can go outside of that rectangle. Okay, so you can see how it's a little bit in and a little bit out. We are going to be using a darker color for the greeting. So you don't need to worry so much about if the greeting is going to show. Oh, I guess that came undone. I can pretty much now get a general idea of where everything should be. Okay, so as long as it's kind of in that space, I should be fine. So if your hinge isn't working like mine, you'll be okay. I also want to do some leaves in the pear pizzazz. That's the coordinating color that I'm using. So just cleaned my stamp and then ink these up. Okay, so just a couple things in that area. So go ahead and remove the paper backing. We're going to stamp the greeting after this is on. That's going to give us the best location for it. So I'm just going to go ahead and just hover that until I've got a nice border on all the sides. It looks good. Okay, so for my greeting, I want it to say, "You are so," and then when they open it up, "fantastic." So I've got the fantastic greeting on a clear block, and I'm going to ink it up with the Rich Razzleberry ink spot. I'm going to try really hard to not get any ink on the clear block because this is going to go inside this opening here. And if I have ink on the outside, I could accidentally stamp on the paper. So I'm just going to place this on the left-hand side of that opening. Nice even pressure, just like that. So next we're going to go ahead and decorate the front of our card. I wanted this opening to feel a little bit bigger, and so that's why I'm doing a matching pattern up at the top. So you're just going to add some adhesive to this, and it's just going to go straight on to your card. Just want to match it up with the top edge of your opening and the sides so it kind of feels seamless. Then I'm going to add some leaves in the background. You do want to trim off the stem from each, and I've just added some glue dots, and I'm going to place them on the top here in the corner. You don't want them to affect the sliding, so make sure that they don't go into your opening at all. So you'll get something like that. Then we're going to work on the sliding mechanism. So this is going to you're going to slide this into your opening, and you'll notice that it is not stopping. So what you want to do is right here on the edge, you're going to add some of the dimensionals. And I'm going to place 2, and I'm going to make it just so they're very close to the edge there. So 1 on top, and then 1 on the bottom. And this is going to be my stopper. So you can see here that as I pull it, it stops it. And then if I push it, that it stops it there as well. And I'm going to add my elephant now over those dimensionals. If you placed a dimensional here, it's going to stop it there. So I just want to mention, I've just added them to the edge. So when you do this, I want to make sure I cover those dimensionals all the way. And so make sure you add your elephant right to the edge of that piece to cover it. Now, if any of the parts are getting stuck like that, you can get a little more adhesive there, or you can kind of roll up your elephant, like the tail or the arm or the ear, just to give it a little bit of dimension so that it doesn't catch on your card. So for this card, I wanted to use the 1/2 inch banner piece. And so I'm going to cut it in half because my greeting isn't going to use up all that space. And then I can get 2 cards from this one greeting shape. So I am cutting it the long way right down the middle. It's about a 1 inch piece, so they're going to be about a 1/2 inch each. So I'm going to use the top half. For my original card, I used the bottom half, so you can see how that looks. I'm going to ink it up in Rich Razzleberry, and I've got the "You Are So" greeting. And I'm going to stamp this as far to the right as I can. Just like that. Then I'll add this to my card with a little bit of adhesive. And you can just slip it underneath the elephant and place it in the center. Okay, so then when that's opened, you're going to see "You Are So Fantastic." So now we just need to create something so that this is easy to pull out. So push it all the way in and then make a mark in the center where you're going to punch a hole. And then pull it out so that you don't accidentally punch your card, and use a hole punch to make a hole like that. And then I'm going to use this fresh freesia. This is the open weave ribbon, and I've got about 10 inches or so. That might be a little bit much, but if you need it to create your loop and stuff, you can. You could also go smaller if you don't need as much. You're going to string it through the hole. Just be really careful so you don't tear your paper. It's a little thinner than regular cardstock, so you want to be gentle with it. And then just gently pull on those to tighten up that loop. So I put my ends through the loop that's created when you go through the hole. Okay, so then you've got this tab here that you can pull, and then just take a pair of ribbon scissors and trim it down to the size that you want. Okay, so you'll get something like this. Then I have colored some of the embellishments from the kit, just so that they're a little darker. You do want to make a note that when you color, sometimes the tip of your blends will get ruined. So just be aware of that. And then the color I'm using is the dark Granny Apple Green. And then you can just add these around your card. And if you're using different colors, then of course you can use different color blend for your embellishments, things like that. So be creative and have fun with it. I hope you enjoyed watching me create this fun card today. If you're interested in getting your own paper pumpkin subscription, you can visit the link in the description box below to subscribe. If you would like to get written instructions or see close-up images of how I created this card, you can visit my blog, creativechelsey.com. Thanks so much for watching. Have a creative day. Bye.